Oh, this is a long time coming. We had this one planned out. Shouldn't be that long, but we'll see what happens. So let me just say that I am describing or using that term, not applying it to every single person that presses the red button. Because you actually have people who like to think that if I make some comment directed at a particular group, that it's some kind of indictment on everyone who participates in the activity of just like being part of the group, like being a subscriber. So let's really talk about something. Roughly 3 weeks ago, I looked at my subscribers. I was subscribed to like 500 people, and that went from 500 to maybe 120. Like it dropped down drastically because I said to myself, it's really stupid for me as a person who hates people that press that button and then disappear to do the same thing. And I actually launched what I consider an experiment where I looked at the most recent uploads people have, stuff that just kind of see how each channel is structured. And there was a person who had actually, I said hello to Ruben. And also, let me make sure my audio is not acting up like it did earlier today. I don't know if you saw the neoliberal power hour, Ruben, but the audio and that was messed up because my headphones are horrible in that manner. So let's see. Yeah, it's good. Oh God, it's like this stuff. It sounds so great when you're listening to something, but it sounds like complete and utter garbage when you're using it for another purpose. Well, that's not anything that's too surprising. People have weird technology all the time. So during a stream I did on, I think it was Tuesday. It was earlier this week. It was Monday actually, because that's the only day of the week I try to stream. Like I really go out of my way to do one on Monday, because Monday is considered the worst day, or the I hate Mondays, as people like to call it. Now, a person comes in the stream and they identify themselves as someone who hasn't checked my stuff out in a while, but wants to know what's going on with the woman front. Now, you can actually look at the title of the stream, and it was a tweet that Trump had put out having to do with Iran. So not only does this person want to ask me something unrelated, right? Which usually I don't mind, because a lot of times when there are people who ask stuff that doesn't have to do with the topic, it's someone I recognize and I've seen before repeatedly, to where I'm just like, I don't have a problem, because I know this person. There's someone that shows up regularly. So that's not the issue here. The issue is I actually, because I think I mentioned before, when I get a subscriber, I get a notification on Google, and I looked at it. I said, wait a second, this guy's subscribed in early of last year and hasn't left a comment on anything, and I'm supposed to like actually want to talk to that person and respond to them and be excited to see them on my channel? Hell no. So I ignored their comment. And there was another person who did something pretty similar. And it's really, I almost want to do a documentary style thing, because from the period between, I'd say, maybe December of last year to probably March or April, I was just sitting here racking my brain trying to figure out how to appeal to these people, these fake subs, as I call them. Sometimes I would try to do stuff shorter. Sometimes I would try to talk about something else. And I realized, I had an epiphany. I said the quality of the content has nothing to do with whether it gets views or not. Because when I did a stream on the thing with Yang, this presidential candidate, and I called it, roasting Fox News or whatever, only gets like 10, 20 views, whatever. But then when I cut that piece out and I stick it up as a separate video, it's over 300. So, like when you see stuff like that and people tell you you need to do certain things to like change the style of stuff, I'm not really convinced. And, I almost want to like say there's some kind of symbiotic connection between a lot of these people that give advice on how to, build a channel, and then also on how to get chicks, as VVS can attest. He decided to show up here after getting his little red carpet rollout. And I guess the thing that pisses me off is I used to believe a lot of these different people. I used to listen to these things and go, okay, well, I'll try your thing for a little bit and see what happens. And, it's like the more experienced you are with it, the more cynical you become, because you start to realize people are just stupid. Like I remember I would go on Twitter and you post any video on there a number of times, it's going to get more views than something you don't post on there. Not because it's better than any of the other stuff, but because it's been shared more often. And I found myself trying to make up, in terms of numbers of views, stuff that I really liked or stuff that I felt somewhat proud of that I had made. That these supposed subscribers should have been able to do themselves. And the only thing that stopped me from getting like really pissed off and that stops me from getting really, really upset about it is that they're doing it to everybody. You go to PewDiePie's channel, guy has over 90 million subs, can't even break 10 million more often than not. So only a ninth or less of the people who are subbed are actually tuning in. Um, really, really horrible stuff. But that's all the way up there, and I'm all the way down here. And I've come to this conclusion that all of these websites, whether it's YouTube or basically probably the only one that I would say isn't this way is Twitter. Pretty much all of these websites are dead. And what I mean by that is you have these people that press this button but don't engage with the channel, which is the point of pressing the button, to be the first ones notified. And thus they promote a fake number of the actual subscribers the person has while showing the real number of engagement in their videos, or rather on the views of the videos. Okay, Ruben just wrote, YouTube's algorithm is rigged so that only certain people watch certain types of videos and certain channels get major preferences over others by YouTube. I'm assuming it's going to be worse now with the new YouTube rules. I wouldn't be surprised, but I really wish you could have seen it. I was just sitting here on these different websites putting my stuff all over the place because I said there is no way in hell you can promote stuff as crazily as I did and get more views from that and still be convinced that you as the content creator needs to adapt to how people are on that stuff. Like I said, I had a stream that got 20 views. I cut a piece of it out, stick a name on it, and then it gets 300. And I'm seeing so many similarities in the way that this stuff has gone down to the chick stuff, where people will try to offer advice. I'll never forget when I had first started uploading regularly. There was a guy who said something to the effect of, in his attempt to give advice, the topics maybe are not interesting. And I said, well, wait a second. You have a group like TYT who covers the news every single day, and they put out loads of videos. They have like 8 or 9 of them a day. Speaking about the exact same stuff, or relatively in the same topic of news relating to political events, and they have millions of subs. Now, granted, most of their subs don't watch every video. In fact, like a very small minority, is that loyal. But the point is, I'm not really convinced when the group that I'm talking about that's much larger is having the same issue. And I've watched people try to play this revisionist history stuff. Like they try to act as though what you say is not true to what you actually are talking about. So for example, I had a person who I gave the benefit of the doubt when they posted this, who said, you talked about relationship stuff, then you shifted to political stuff, and no wonder your views went. I was like, no. What happened was I started talking about political stuff because that's a daily occurrence. The landscape changes every day, as Ruben can attest. And I saw a lot of this chick crap going on online, and I said, hey, I have some experience with that, and I started talking about it. Not as often, but still, here and there. But this person had to convince themselves that I just was this relationship guru or person or whatever the hell. And then I just woke up one day and was like, let's get into politics. Like, no, it never happened. But they really tricked themselves. And another thing that happens is I've had people who, I'm not going to name names, but I had one user who said something to the effect of, I was busy this week, sorry. I said, look, man, no one is upset that you didn't watch a video. No one gives a damn. The issue here is that I'm sorry, but if anyone wants to watch a channel, especially with what I do, where like during the week all the videos are kind of like 3, 4, 5 minutes long, They watch it in bulk. So they'll take a bunch of videos from a person, just one by one, maybe play it in the background. It's not hard to do that. And I actually, I think I've been very forgiving in that manner. As you remember, there was a person who I had spent 3 to 4 weeks working on a video. It's one of the episodes. And sent the person one of them. He watched it. I said, hey, can you watch the second one? They said, yeah. They decided not to watch it. And I got pissed off at them and stopped speaking to them, not because they wouldn't watch it, but because they lied and said they would watch it. Then they shifted and said, I don't watch this kind of stuff on YouTube. And that pissed me off because I gave them weeks to watch this. It was April when that thing was completed, and I didn't stop talking to them until like the end of May. I was so betrayed because I said to myself, if I can spend, if I can put in the effort of weeks to edit something and try to, finalize it, if whatever term you want to use here, but then you can't take the 19 minutes to check it out, get the hell out of here. Like, I feel like that's a fair assessment of what that person did. Oh, here comes everyone's favorite musician, the second to last commentator. Sky, I didn't read your first comment. Your channel, you talk, you want, end of story. Many have with a single theme. Yeah, I don't like that single theme stuff because what happens is people get so caught up, and that's what they try to do with the relationship stuff. They get so caught up on that one topic that they just like lose their minds if anything else is covered, or they completely check out. So I purposely was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Usually what it was that the political stuff is what I'm actually into, and then the chick stuff was just for whenever, like I just felt frustrated with something going on, or occurring at the moment. Hold on a second. Let me see if this person needs anything. Oh, let's see. That's people would say, make another channel for specific type of content. Yeah, but I'm not one person to do that, because when you split your stuff around in that manner, a lot of times people have done this. They sub to one and then don't to the other, or they watch one and completely ignore the other. I'm serious. I know a guy on here who has 38,000, and he has a second channel where he plays games, like stuff unrelated to the main thing he talks about. And I've seen videos on there not even get 1,000 views. Like, it's pathetic. But again, doesn't mean he makes bad stuff. Means the people that supposedly are his supporters are sometimey. But yeah, I really think I've tried to accommodate a lot of what has been directed. Like, I've had this person claim that I was trying to, you saw the one who said I was bullying him by saying, if you don't watch them, I'm not going to speak to you anymore. But they created that situation, that situation themselves, because they promised to watch something and then they chickened out. And to this day, I don't feel bad about that, because again, you were willing to throw away a friendly rapport that you had for 2 years that was almost daily because you wouldn't watch a video. Like, that makes you the stupid person. Like, they say, oh, forgiveness. I did forgive. I forgave when this person canceled calls we were supposed to have. I forgave when this person talked behind my back, because that's not stuff that you work on for any, large amount of time. When I put effort into something and you say you're going to check it out, and you can't even make the effort to see it after a month, go away. When they put out a new chapter of that stupid manga, he's the first one to go look at that. That requires a lot more work. He has to flip pages. If ever anyone knows him, sounds familiar. Okay, Sky says there's a big gaming YouTube channel and he has a second channel. His views and subs are low compared to his main channel, which is like, yeah, that's the running theme. And like, when I see that, and then here's the crazy part, right? Part of me is almost convinced that I should do that as a social experiment to see how many people even like hear of the second one. Like I had another one that only has 4 subs. I'm completely fine with, because every actual video that gets put on there overperforms the sub count. Versus this, where we're lucky if we can even get 40 views or 50. Oh man, people are crazy. Like the only way I could like have stable people checking this stuff out is if I just talked about the relationship stuff and Andrew Yang. If it's not one of those two, or maybe if I turned to one of those Vic channels that was sitting over there talking about that voice actor, they would have the exact same thing happen, where you get so known for this one topic, and then when you talk about anything else, people just disappear. They go and completely vanish. They turn into Aang from before The Last Airbender started. Where remember he was in the iceberg and he disappeared for 100 years. Oh my god. It's normal to have a horrible attention span nowadays. Oh, here's someone else I haven't seen in a very long time who actually, I was worried he would think he was one of the people that was being discussed here. You probably have to get over dramatic or present a lot of energy to draw the lower IQ people in. Oh, yeah, I really feel like it's been me just sitting here trying to come up and devise schemes to get people to check stuff out, and then I'm supposed to feel bad because someone won't click a link. And we've been over the fact that there's just some people who you can't get to check out pretty much anything. Like we've had the attempts to make stuff that I remember there was a series I did. It was like 2 videos from early last year. And it was called A Brief History, where I would talk about something political for like 2 minutes. Again, for those of us who don't want to know the nooks and crannies and details of stuff, the nuances and whatever. And literally it got like maybe 15 views. Like, all right, well, screw this. Because I have no problem speaking about something for longer. It's just that was me attempting to reach out to those who are not interested in seeing something for that long. I can't stand those people. They talk too loud. Oh yeah, me screaming and hollering. Most times, if I'm not, usually if my tone is lower, it's because someone else has arrived or come or whatever, shown up. So that's much more difficult to do. But it depends. I know me and others appreciate actual conversation and the content from really small creators. I can't take over animated people for too long personally. Yeah, like I don't get what they want. Like, is this supposed to be like a parody of Comedy Central? I'm supposed to be jumping around going, hey guys, let's talk about some new things today. Yeah, Dirk, that and the Yang videos and the show, like every episode of season 3's had over 300 views. It's not because it's better, it's because it gets spread on Twitter all day. Too many James Rolfe yeah, oh, yeah, all these AVGN copies. Playing some old video game. I love how they do this thing where they say you're accusing us of being copies because we play old games. But then the real reason people accuse them of being copies is because they play old games and scream and lose their minds like AVGN, except the point was while he was doing that, there was also commentary on the actual game, and it's like it's just them trying to like lose their minds and I guess attempt to get views out of it. I'm soft spoken myself. I very rarely raise my voice or get extremely mad. Um, I don't know too. Like I guess I would say I'm the same way. Like there's a lot of stuff that annoys me, but I don't really get pissed off about it. Like usually, if I think of stuff that would just make me start yelling and hollering and wanting to, you know, grow something, it's over. It's usually like the chick stuff, or like if I do a project and people won't do their lines, or I can't get people to do their lines. Just stuff that I feel debilitates my ability to advance as far as like a personal higher goal thing. Like if I get only 20 or 30 views in the video, that's whatever, because I can't control that. And it's not that serious for most stuff where I just sit there and record in front of a screen. But if it's like, one of those two other things, I'll usually get more upset. It's not just games anymore. It's movies, shows, books, comics, music, etc. They all just copy off AVGN. Yeah, they think that people want to just watch someone yell and huss and holler. I think ER and what's the other guy, Mauler? They're good examples of why that's not like why that formula doesn't have to be employed to get views on stuff. Because I remember Mauler did videos on like I think he was playing some game and it got maybe a couple thousand views. He reviews those crappy new Star Wars movies, millions of views. It was crazy. It was like wow, he just exploded. Holy hell. They go absolutely insane when they get told that that's not the only thing you can do to get people to check stuff out. I just feel like I don't ask for that much as far as a content creator. Like the part of the point of making streams and attempting to interact with members of the chat is to get the position and opinion of those that regularly check the stuff out. And I've given a lot of leeway. I've said, you know what? People can't come to some stream every single day, so I'm going to stop doing those every day. I'm going to just have, some video just put up, and maybe people might comment on that. They usually don't. I don't see what really has been like. I'm not even like these other people who put their link all the time. I don't even put Patreon on there because that's a waste of time. Let's see. I think TV shows like House Whores of Atlanta and Jersey Shore and others are the reason why people like that overhyped and dramatic content. Oh, drama content. Probably. I mean, again, there are plenty of different shows and stuff that I've seen, and I don't get why people like them. But it makes sense because there are plenty of candidates for office that I've seen who I don't get why people like them. Just like with my congressperson, I have to this day, they've been in there for I think 6 years. I couldn't name you one thing they have led on or bill they've introduced or issue that they've championed, like nothing. And it baffles me that they've been reelected repeatedly. But I remember that it's a Democratic district and usually only one other person's running and it's a Republican, and you know how they are. Part of me almost wants to challenge her, but then I can't even be sure if anybody's going to even donate. So what's the point? No, I read the okay. Envoy says, "Are my comments not showing up?" I was thinking something the other day. How in Hollywood we see a lot of remakes nowadays or continuations of old projects like Toy Story, Lion King, Man in Black. Well, to be fair, when it comes to Men in Black, that's a comic that people aren't that familiar with. So you can it's going to be the same thing with the superhero films. They're going to just keep rebooting and doing it over and over for the end of time. I don't even know what to call the last person who commented with the Japanese name. You told me one time and I forgot. Envoy thought he was banished. I remember one time I was doing this stream and this guy was like commenting and I wouldn't say anything back. And then Envoy asked what happened to his comments. And I said they're gone forever, just like my patience. So if it did happen, you'd be able to see it, or it would show up. Let's see. Dirk says, sadly, in the saying, any old blue won't do, doesn't apply to a lot of people. Yeah, that's why, like I said, Democrats want to capitalize on the Trump derangement syndrome and hope that that coasts them to beating him. Kevin Navarre. Let's see. Envoy says, banished to the shadow realm, LOL. Yeah, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched the first one, and then a little bit of, I think most of GX. When they get the 5Ds and everything, I lose interest. I'm really not a fan of shows or like long-running franchises that replace the main character, because it feels like every time they do it, it just doesn't work. Um, just saying. All right, now Sky is bonding with Envoy over there, liking 5Ds. Yeah, I had a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I was more into Pokemon at that point, though. What about Digimon? Yeah, that's another one. Like, I don't know which one people are talking about more often than not. Kind of let you know how the game works. So with to respond to Winter Fresh, I just know I liked one of the series. It was the one where they had, I think they all had their own partner Digimon, and then like I think it's the third or second one, but that was one I really liked, and all the other ones were just like, oh, whatever. I didn't dislike GX. I just said that was where I stopped watching, because after that I was like, I don't care about any of these other people they've introduced. You can take them back to the circus. Everyone is talking about Pop Team Epic. Oh, I thought the only things they were talking about now are My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and the rest of the new different series in Japan. Let's see. I like the first one. The second one, meh. All right, we're getting Winter Fresh's opinion on that. Yeah, that's another one, Dirk JoJo. Like I said, there are just so many different shows and franchises that I can't keep up with them. Like after what's the newest one that's been introduced that people talk about? You get my point, that after a certain time of and just the number of these come out, you start to lose track, because it's like the ones that are over aren't even over. Like people think Naruto's over, but then it's got this sequel series that's clocking in at like 100 episodes and got all these different chapters, and it's like we take a break. Like they started that right after the original ended, or within a year or whatever. You forgot Rise of the Hero Shield. Oh, oops. I didn't even know we were gonna have some anime specific stream, because I really don't pay attention to any of these new shows or mangas that have come out. So that's why I don't usually discuss it. Still dreading along. One Punch stood out for me. I like One Piece, Dirk. Don't crap on that. Problem Naruto's got a bunch of characters, but then like they put them all in the dumpster for Sasuke. So if you like a character, they're gonna get like maybe one, like maybe 2 or 3 fights the whole series, and then they gotta do more Uchiha bootlicking. I don't know who you're saying sorry to, Envoy. Everybody I know that watches Boruto says they don't like it. Ruben says a lot of animes in Japan have started since the 1970s and 1980s are still continuing to this day. And people say The Simpsons has been continuing for too long. Well, I guess with the way TV works in Japan, where they don't have any reruns, it kind of makes sense for them to, if it's going to be on there, it's going to make new stuff. But like I can just think of so many different shows that were really really good and only got like maybe 2, 3 seasons and then just got yanked. So it's kind of frustrating to see those last for a very short amount of time, and then this stuff in these other countries just goes on for. I mean, what is One Piece at, like 800 episodes, 880 or something? So that's why that it just feels like this weird conundrum. Because like with my own show, I couldn't picture going, anywhere past like 100, and even that is like far off in the distance. So let's see. Envoy says the original Naruto had amazing character development. Shippuden had epic fights and escalation and good, but sometimes it was over the top and too focused on Naruto and Sasuke. If you ask me, yeah. I mean, it's got the same problem that Super has, where it's just Goku and Vegeta arc after arc after arc. Like they have the new arc in the manga where they had Boo show up for like a chapter and beat up the new villain, and then he gets swapped out for the Grand Supreme Kai, who says, "I'm gonna be his substitute for the rest of the arc." It's like, how lame is that? You jerk me around with this character where you have him go to sleep for 2 tournaments where he could have had a bunch of different fights, and you had him sleep for some of this arc. He shows up, gets to have one decent little moment, and then Grand Supreme Kai is going to take over. Character that nobody cares about is going to replace the one that people actually like. That people were actually foaming at the mouths over, getting shafted not once but twice during Super. Dirk says, "Did Boo do? Who did Boo have sex with? I want to know." Ruben says there is also Berserk. Oh, did Boo do anything in the new Super chapters? Yeah, 2 chapters ago, I made a review of it, Envoy. Oh, but of course, I forgot. People don't watch my stuff. In the second, it's like the third to last one, so it was like the one from 2 months ago. He beat up the main villain, and then the main villain got away, and then he switched out with the Grand Supreme Kai, who was a character that was in Z for like 2 minutes in the flashback. And when he switches out, he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna cut Boo out for the rest of this arc." So we're stuck with we replaced a character that people wanted to see actually do something in Super with one that people haven't thought about at all. You know how that stuff works. Yeah, Envoy Cell was my favorite villain. I remember I actually had a guy who had this is before that Broly movie came out. I had told him I want them to bring back Cell, and he said, "Who would even bring back Cell? Why would you all this crap?" And I think you can get the irony of having the exact next like film be about a villain returning, granted in the new continuity, but still a old villain coming back and being used here. Super was supposed to be an improvement from GT, but ended up being worse instead, just like how Disney Star Wars turned out to be worse than the prequels. Winner says they should bring back Raditz and Cell. Yeah, I had like a whole Ruben. At one point, I was gonna do a whole video on like every single thing that was wrong with Super, including those stupid retellings. Like you take these movies, right, and you stretch them out for some ridiculous amount of time, and you give us like no new stuff. Like we don't have a new conclusion because basically with the manga, right? One of the things I liked about it was it has to have the same ending, but the way they get to it is different. So instead of having this one character fight the bad guy by themselves, you can have the whole group fight together and then have that same end result be the case. Instead of doing that, which would have been interesting because all these characters that didn't get used during the movie for time constraints could actually be shown in this show. They just say, "Oh, let's just copy the movie and make the fight longer and just drawn out and whatever." Yeah, that's such a good idea. Yeah, GT had a bunch of missed opportunities, like that Shadow Dragon arc. It's like, yeah, we're gonna bring back all these dragons that have are coming back to wreak havoc after being shafted by, like having these horrible these wishes, right? That the character's been using over the course of the series. But we're only gonna have two characters out of all the ones in this show go around looking to fight them. That arc could have been so cool, and they screwed it up. So just oh my god. How do you mess up something with that much potential? That's crazy. I own all DBZ DVDs and never watched a single Super episode. Am I missing out? The only thing in Super I really like is the Tournament of Power, and that's only because there's like big chunks of it where it's not Goku or Vegeta. Everything else, save for a couple of episodes in the there's like 3 episodes in that tournament arc where it's like Vegeta versus all these different villains, or not villains, Universe 6 contestants. Those are okay. And then there's a few episodes during the Future Trunks arc that are okay. Other than that, I'd skip it. There's like maybe out of that show's 130 plus episodes, there's like maybe 20 that I go back and rewatch. Everything else I just discard. They could make it in the way that Raditz becomes good. Yeah, if they wanted to, but Toriyama apparently forgot about him. The Shadow Dragon arc was dumb, man. It was so interesting given the Shenron's background. Yeah, but like I said, good idea, crap execution. You got all these different characters, and you take two and make them just fight everybody. And then that's not even interesting because it's just going to be Goku versus the world. So, and we already saw that with the rest of the show. Think that would work with personality and Mike. They really worried out. Where did Ruben go? I want to make sure he's not feeling neglected, like some redheaded stepchild. Yeah, I was very concerned that you were being pushed to the back burner. But you said bring back Garlic Jr. It's funny that arc. I actually really like it even more since Super came out because like Goku's not in it at all because he can't. Because if he was there, then you just completely eviscerate Garlic Jr. And Vegeta is like only there for like sparse moments doing stuff that by himself. So like because Super made them the center focus to such a ridiculous extent, I like that arc even more. Like it's 10 episodes of like barely either of them. It's terrific. I want to take them all and just like download that as or like get Funimation to release it as like some collector's pack or whatever. That's the thing One Piece has over all these other series. Like they don't really, if a character is introduced as a main person, they don't really ever stop being one. I like that. Because I can't tell you how many different Naruto characters people have sat back and gone, I really like the focus they got in part 1, but in part 2, they got kind of shafted. Let's see, end with Krillin and give him Ultra Instinct or something. Yeah. Well, I said before that like the human characters in Super and Z and all the other series are way more like because they've made the Saiyans ridiculously strong. I'd rather see them do something than the Saiyans because I already know they're gonna win it anyway. Like that's sad when you've made your main character so powerful that you have to take them out of the story for me to give a damn. Not even just your main character, your the other Vegeta as well. Uh, is unmatched. Yeah. Oh, definitely Dirk. They have like I said, another thing that they do that other series don't is they don't just like. So, for example, a lot of times with Dragon Ball, they have things where people complain about certain characters getting killed off, and like they did, like they got upset with Deborah, they got upset with 16. There's different people that have died during it, and they were like, oh, they could have done something more with that person. One Piece purposely doesn't really kill off any of its. I don't think any of its villains, or most of them, end up surviving, so that if the writer wants to bring them back, he can. One Piece has way too many chapters. Yeah, I think after next year it's going to be at like what 1,000. But I mean, would you rather read 1,000 chapters or watch 900 episodes? Like if you pick episodes over chapters, I don't know what to tell you. I do think one could have condensed its chapters, but even so, I don't have a problem with it's like it's been going for 20 years every week. So I'm not too upset. But look, thank you for attending. I hope you guys like this stream. Um, we can do this again soon. And thanks for watching. I hope that you guys can find the time to keep this stuff going up. I appreciate your contribution. I've tried to make that evident. So thank you.